Every January, the same thing happens. Someone buys a detox tea or a 7-day cleanse, skips meals, drinks something neon green, and by day 2, they swear they feel clean. Then the crash hits. Dizzy standing up, wired at night, exhausted all day, sometimes with liver labs that look worse afterward. Here's the truth nobody puts on the label. Detox isn't a product. It's a 24/7 medical process. In the next 15 minutes, I'll give you a real 7-day reset and a 10-second test to spot any fake detox claim. That's the twist nobody puts on the marketing label. Here's the uncomfortable truth that the multi-billion-dollar wellness industry doesn't want you to hear. Detox isn't a product you can buy off a shelf or order from an influencer's link. Detox is a medical word for a complex biological medical process your body performs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Your liver doesn't suddenly start detoxing because you bought a tea. Your liver is already doing the work, filtering your blood and processing metabolites while you sleep, while you work, and while you eat. And after the age of 40, for a lot of people, the system starts to feel the strain. It's doing that work while life gets louder. You have more stress from your career, less restorative sleep, perhaps more daily medications, more convenience food, and a growing list of "I'll deal with my health on Monday." Detox culture sells you the seductive idea that your body is inherently dirty or broken, just so you'll pay for a ritual that feels like you're regaining control. In a minute, I'll give you a simple detox reality map. This is a mental model you can use to judge any detox claim in 10 seconds flat without getting lost in the wellness fog. I will show you exactly why cleanses feel like they work for a single week, even when they're doing the exact opposite of what you think they're doing to your metabolism. Then I'll give you one specific question that instantly exposes most detox marketing for what it is. If the claim can't answer it, you're not buying health, you're buying a story. Quick safety note before we dive deep. This is for educational purposes, not medical advice. If you have a medical condition, take prescription medications, are pregnant, have a history of liver or kidney disease, or you've had abnormal labs in the past, please talk with your clinician before making major diet or supplement changes. Now, let me introduce you to someone I'll call Mark. Mark is 49 years old. He's a smart guy, not reckless or clueless, but like many of us, he's busy. He works a desk job, sits for 8 to 10 hours a day, and his sleep is okay when life is calm, but terrible when the pressure is on. Every January, Mark does a cleanse. His logic sounds perfectly reasonable on the surface. He says, "I just need a reset, 7 days of discipline to give myself a clean slate after the holidays." And for the first 2 days, he absolutely loves it. He's off the alcohol, he's stopped the late-night snacking, he's drinking way more water than usual. He gets that clean, light, slightly euphoric feeling, and he thinks to himself, "Finally, this is working. I can feel the toxins leaving my body." But by the time day 4 rolls around, the honeymoon is over. Mark is irritated at his coworkers, his brain feels foggy, and he's thinking about a cheeseburger or a slice of pizza non-stop. By day 6, he's either white-knuckling it through the day or secretly binging on cereal at midnight. And by day 8, he's back to his old habits, but now he has a new problem. He feels like a failure. That's the cleanse cycle. It doesn't just mess with your nutrition, it changes the story you tell yourself about your own willpower. So here's the reframe that actually helps people over 40. Your body already has elite built-in detox systems that are far more sophisticated than any juice. Your liver processes chemicals, your kidneys filter your blood and balance fluids, your gut moves waste out of the building, your lungs remove carbon dioxide with every breath, your skin even plays a minor role. So the real question we should be asking isn't, "How do I detox?" The real question is, what am I doing in my daily life that forces these systems to work in permanent overtime? Before we go further, I want to do a quick honesty check with you. Think back to the last few years. What kind of detox product has tempted you the most? Was it the weight loss teas, the 3-day juice cleanses, the aggressive colon cleanses, or those massive supplement stacks you see on social media? Now, let's define detox like grown-ups. In actual clinical medicine, detox refers to managing real life-threatening toxins or managing physiological withdrawal. It is monitored by professionals. It is measurable with blood work. It is not a vibe or a feeling. Wellness marketing borrowed this word because it sounds scientific and urgent, but most of the time the word toxins is just a placeholder for saying you feel puffy, tired, inflamed, or just generally off track. So here's the single standard I want you to steal from me and use for the rest of your life. If a detox claim cannot tell you 3 specific things, it is not a health claim, it is a sales script. First, which specific toxin is it removing? Second, how is that toxin measured before and after? And third, how are the outcomes verified by a third party? If the company can't answer those, what are you actually paying for? I want you to notice something about your brain when you hear the word detox. Are you picturing your internal biology getting healthier, or are you picturing yourself becoming a good, disciplined person again? Those are not the same thing. And that second one, the emotional one, is exactly where marketing lives and breathes. Now, let's talk about why these cleanses feel like they work at first. This is a crucial point because it's the reason smart, successful people keep repeating this cycle every year. For the first 72 hours, most cleanses accidentally remove the exact things that make people over 40 feel awful. You stop drinking alcohol, which improves your sleep architecture instantly. You cut out ultra-processed foods and excess sodium, so your body drops the water weight it was holding to balance that salt. You stop the late-night snacking, so your insulin levels finally have a chance to drop. You drink more fluids. You go to bed earlier because you aren't sitting on the couch eating a heavy dinner at 9:30 at night. So you feel better. But please understand, that is not toxins leaving your cells. That is your metabolism finally calming down. That is your blood sugar getting less chaotic. That is your digestion getting a much-needed break from the constant workload. That is your nervous system finally stepping out of a fight-or-flight fire drill every single night. In other words, it is the change in your behavior that is doing the heavy lifting, not the expensive juice or the tea. Here's a question that separates true health from marketing hype. If the only way a detox works is by making you afraid of normal food, is that actually health, or is that just control dressed up in the lab coat of science? Now, I promised you a 10-second way to judge any detox claim, and we are almost there. But first, I have to address something that the detox industry avoids at all costs. Some of these cleanses can actually backfire, especially once you are over 40, because your physiological margin for error is smaller than it was at 20. If you slash your calories too low, you may feel light for 24 hours, but then you will hit a metabolic wall. If you undereat protein, which almost every juice cleanse does, your appetite signals get louder, your cravings get sharper, and your muscle mass, which is your metabolic currency, starts to be at risk. If you use those stimulant-heavy detox teas, you end up with what I call the wired and tired effect. You're alert at night and exhausted all day, further wrecking your circadian rhythm. And there's another backfire people don't expect: supplement stacking. When you take a kitchen sink supplement with 20 different herbs, you're adding massive variables to your system. More ingredients means more unknowns. If you feel better or worse, you have no way of knowing which of those 20 ingredients was responsible. I'm not saying all supplements are bad, far from it. I am saying the stack and flush model is sloppy science. Here's the rule to live by. If you are combining multiple botanicals, especially concentrated extracts, in multi-ingredient blends, you are increasing the processing load on your liver, not decreasing it. There are documented cases of liver injury linked to certain concentrated extracts in susceptible people. It is rare, but it is real, and the risk increases when people stack multiple products at high doses. The irony is sometimes brutal. Some liver support supplements actually become extra work for the liver to process. Now, let's pay off the big promise. Here is the detox reality map. This is the model that makes most detox hype look like child's play. After 40,
Feeling clean and energized is not about willpower. It's not about vibes. It's about identifying and fixing three specific bottlenecks: incoming load, processing capacity, and exit routes. If your plan doesn't address all three, it isn't a plan. It's just a ritual. Let's break these down so you can apply them today. Bottleneck number 1 is incoming load. This is simply the total volume of substances you are asking your body to process. For most adults, the big hitters are boring and predictable. It's the alcohol, especially the weekend stacking, where you have 4 or 5 drinks in a single night. It's the ultra-processed food rhythm, where you're eating things out of a box at every meal. It's the sleep debt eating, where you aren't actually hungry for sugar, you're just exhausted and your brain is screaming for a quick hit of energy. And it's the supplement stacks that change every few weeks based on a new trend. If you're being honest with yourself right now, what is your biggest incoming load? Is it the wine at night, the processed snacks at work, the late-night eating, or a cabinet full of random pills? Bottleneck number 2 is processing capacity. This is your body's actual ability to handle normal life without your energy leaking out. After 40, most people do not have a toxin problem. They have a capacity problem. Sleep debt is the quiet monster here. Not because sleep is a trendy wellness topic, but because sleep literally governs your appetite signals, your blood sugar stability, and your level of systemic inflammation. If you slept poorly, your brain wants relief, not a spinach salad. It wants a hit of dopamine from sugar or salt. Protein adequacy is the other pillar of capacity. If your reset or cleanse leaves you shaky, starving, and losing muscle, you didn't reset anything. You just triggered a biological rebound that will lead to overeating later. Hydration matters too, but not because water flushes toxins like a toilet. Hydration supports your blood volume and your cellular machinery. It helps you feel steady and clear-headed. Bottleneck number 3 is exit routes. This is how your body clears out what has already been processed. No, this is not a pitch for laxatives or colon cleanses that irritate your lining. This is about the boring, powerful stuff. It's about fiber and regular bowel habits. It's about daily movement that keeps your lymphatic system and your digestion moving. And it's about having a nervous system that isn't permanently stuck in fight or flight mode because your gut doesn't move when you are under constant perceived threat. And let's retire one myth gently. Sweat is not your main detox pathway. While sweating is fantastic for your heart, your skin, and your stress levels, it is not a replacement for your liver, kidneys, and gut doing their heavy lifting. Now, let's use this detox reality map like a professional tool. The next time you see a flashy detox ad on your feed, ask yourself, does this product actually reduce my incoming load? Does it increase my internal processing capacity? Does it support my natural exit routes? If the answer is no, it's probably just a dramatic input with a very dramatic story attached to it. Now, let's look at what Mark did differently when he stopped chasing cleanses and started a real reset. Same desire for a fresh start, but a completely different model. No neon drinks, no starvation, no self-punishment. Just a 7-day protocol designed to reduce load, increase capacity, and improve exit routes. And most importantly, we made it measurable, because feeling cleaner is not a metric, it's a mood, and moods are very easy for companies to sell to you. Here is the 7-day reset. It's designed for normal adults with normal jobs and normal levels of stress. Days 1 and 2 are all about removing the top thieves that steal your energy. First, you pause alcohol for the week. Not forever, but just long enough to stop the overtime work for your liver and see what your true baseline energy looks like. Second, you pause the detox extras.
That means no detox teas, no cleanse kits, no fat burners, and no complex botanical stacks. This isn't a moral judgment on supplements, it's about reducing variables. If you want to know what actually makes you feel better, you have to stop throwing random inputs at your system. Third, you normalize your meals. No starvation allowed. You aim for 3 real meals or 2 meals and a high-quality snack, depending on your work schedule. Here is the simple plate template to follow. A portion of protein the size of your palm, at least 1 cup of colorful produce, vegetables or fruit, and a smart carb if you need the energy, like a potato, oats, rice, or beans. We use these because carbs aren't the enemy, but because stable energy from whole foods always beats the heroic restriction of a juice fast. If you're thinking, but shouldn't I cut more out to speed this up? Stop and ask yourself, are you trying to actually feel better, or are you just trying to punish yourself into feeling disciplined again? Days 3 and 4 are where we rebuild your stable energy. The simplest and most effective move you can make is your breakfast. Make it a combination of high protein and high fiber. Some great examples are eggs with spinach and a side of berries, or Greek yogurt with chia seeds, walnuts, and fruit. You could do cottage cheese with cinnamon and fruit, or even a protein smoothie provided you add real fiber like ground flax or chia seeds. If you drink coffee, keep it. You don't need a caffeine withdrawal headache on top of everything else. Just don't let coffee become your entire breakfast. Then add a 10 to 15-minute walk after your largest meal of the day. This isn't some intense fat-burning ritual. It's a blood sugar smoother and a digestion helper. It tells your body that the meal is done and it's time to process. And if you can, try to move your dinner just 30 to 60 minutes earlier. Sleep quality often improves dramatically when your body isn't working hard to digest a heavy meal while you're trying to drift off. Now let's do some troubleshooting for those first 4 days, because real life is never perfect. If day 2 gives you a nagging headache, don't fall for the trap of thinking it's toxins leaving the body. It is almost always one of 3 things. You aren't drinking enough water and electrolytes, you aren't eating enough total food, or you're experiencing caffeine withdrawal. Drink some water, add a little high-quality salt to your meal, and make sure you are eating enough protein. If day 3 makes you crave sugar like crazy at night, it's a sign. Add more protein to your dinner and more fiber earlier in the day. A reset should stabilize you, not turn into a test of your pure willpower. Days 5 through 7 are where we stop guessing and start looking at the data. I call this 2 numbers and 1 feeling. Number 1 is your waist trend. Don't obsess over daily fluctuations. Just measure on the morning of day 1 and the morning of day 7. For many people, the bloating drops significantly when the alcohol and processed food patterns stop. That's not toxins exiting. That's your body finally being able to manage its fluid levels because it isn't being poked by inflammatory inputs all day long. Number 2 is your sleep consistency. You don't even need a high-tech tracker for this. Just jot down roughly when you fell asleep, when you woke up, and how many times you were startled awake. If your sleep gets more consistent, your appetite and your daily energy will follow. That is a real physiological win because it increases your processing capacity. And the 1 feeling is what I call morning steadiness. On a scale of 1 to 10, how stable and ready do you feel when you stand up and start your day? Not how motivated are you, but how stable is your energy? Let me ask you right now, if you had to pick just one of those to improve in the next 7 days, which would it be? Is it the bloating, the sleep quality, or that feeling of morning steadiness? Now, if you want to have a truly smart conversation with your doctor about this, especially if you've been worried about chronic fatigue or metabolic health, ask them which labs actually make sense for your age and history. Most clinicians will start with a basic metabolic panel, looking at markers like liver enzymes and glucose control.
A lot of what people describe as detox fatigue is actually just the whiplash of blood sugar spikes combined with chronic sleep debt and a high incoming load of processed ingredients. I'm not here to tell you exactly what you need. I'm here to tell you how to ask better, more informed questions. Before we finish, we need to have a calm, serious safety talk. You should immediately stop any cleanse, reset, or supplement stack and seek medical attention if you ever notice a yellowing of the whites of your eyes or your skin, if your urine becomes very dark, if you have severe pain in the right upper part of your abdomen, or if you experience persistent vomiting, confusion, or fainting. Those are not signs of a detox working. Those are signs that your body needs professional medical intervention.
Now, let's land on the emotional truth of all of this, because this is what detox culture gets so fundamentally wrong. Detox culture sells you the idea that your body is a dirty, broken machine that requires an outside product to fix it. But the real win, especially as we get older, is much simpler. It's about not outsourcing your biology to a company. Your liver doesn't need a magical tea. It needs fewer surprise inputs and better support. Your metabolism doesn't need to be punished with a fast. It needs the stability of real food. Your energy doesn't need a cleanse. It needs a sustainable system. You don't need a fresh start that you have to buy every few months. You need a reset protocol that you can repeat whenever life gets a little too loud. If you stopped buying those expensive fresh starts and instead built one small, repeatable system like this, what would your health look like a year from now? Now, here is your practical close for today. I want you to try this 7-day reset exactly as I've laid it out. On days 1 and 2, pause the alcohol and the cleanse kits and normalize your meals with protein and fiber. Then, on days 3 and 4, focus on that protein-heavy breakfast and your post-meal walk. Then, from days 5 through 7, track your waist trend, your sleep, and your morning steadiness. Once you finish, I want you to come back and tell me what actually changed for you. Give me a real answer in the comments, because your experience helps other people in this community far more than a generic motivational quote ever will. What do you think will be the hardest part for you personally? Is it cutting the alcohol for a week, dropping the processed snacks, getting to bed earlier, or finally letting go of that detox ritual mindset? If your main goal is sustained energy, our next conversation needs to be about insulin resistance and the dreaded afternoon crash, because a lot of what feels like toxin fatigue is actually just blood sugar whiplash. And if you've ever had a doctor mention fatty liver, we need to talk about the difference between reversible fat and permanent scar tissue, because those are two very different stories. Final punchline for today? Your liver is a powerhouse. It doesn't need a detox tea. It just needs you to stop making it work overtime every single day.